ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
Neighbors on alert as dangerous winds move in. We're tracking the red flag warning about to sweep into San Diego County and preparing now to roll out a vaccine. County leaders unveil a distribution plan set to start this month. Plus,
absolutely crazy. I never thought that something like this would ever happen.
how a young Marine's leadership and heroism connected her with heroes of World War II in this season of hope. But we begin with the critical fire danger. In just 2 hours, a widespread red flag warning will be in effect throughout Saturday for the mountains and the Inland Valley areas. Tens of thousands of people across the county have been warned their power may be shut off. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is joining us now live in Alpine. We can see those winds whipping. And Mimi, CAL FIRE says they're fully staffed and ready to respond to any wildfires.
They are, Kimberly, and we are in Alpine, as you mentioned, right off of the 8 at the Vista Point. And in the last hour or so, the winds have obviously picked up very significantly. You can take a look around and see some of this brush flying around, as well as my hair. But CAL FIRE is asking everyone to just have that plan in place in case a fire does break out and you lose power.
Think about what you and your family are going to do if you don't have power, if you don't have the ability to get information quickly. What are your next steps? We really just need the public support in realizing that it's still fire season. We're staffed up at our peak levels. That's the same that we were staffed up in midsummer.
So the low humidity, dry brush, and high winds, a combination creating that wildfire danger in San Diego County for the rest of the week. The high winds could cause damage and power outages, of course. The biggest concern for CAL FIRE right now is if a small fire does start, it can quickly spread and get out of control. More than 95,000 SDG&E customers are also at risk of possibly losing power during public safety power shutoffs. This is much more widespread than we've seen recently, and you can see on this map here, many communities are impacted this time around, including much of the East County, but also areas in the North County and the South Bay. CAL FIRE says they are fully staffed. They have extra engines, hand crews, and 7 helicopters ready to go. But they do want people to prepare at home, so if a fire does start, they can focus on putting that out rather than evacuations. What you can do now is, of course, remove any dry brush or dead plants and leaves around your home without using power tools. And again, make that plan. A lot of people are working and going to school from home, so if you do lose power, you want to have that backup plan ready to go. We're live in Alpine. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
And that plan will be critical. Thank you so much for that live update, Mimi. Meteorologist Angelica Campos is timing out the dangerous winds arriving tonight. Angelica?
Hi, Kim. And yes, we're going to time it out. As you can see right now, the winds are already gusting, and we could see it from Mimi's story and where she was standing. The winds over 20 miles per hour, 26 miles per hour in Alpine, 12 in Mount Laguna, and 21 in Julian. But of course, we know the winds will get stronger. We not only have a red flag warning, but also a high wind warning. When we talk about a high wind warning, that means there's a potential for damage in wind gust, winds that could potentially bring down trees and power lines. And that includes our valleys, our foothills, and also our mountains. And as we switch it to the red flag warning, you can see the same areas will be under critical fire danger, which means that the dry brush and the gusty, powerful winds on the way will create hazardous conditions, and in the event of a fire, it would spread very quickly. But the other concern is for people losing power. The temperatures will be very cold tonight, and also for the next couple of nights coming up in our 7-day forecast. I'll give you a breakdown of what to expect around the county.
And stay with ABC 10 News as we track these fire conditions and potential outages coming tonight. You can have breaking news alerts sent to your phone with the ABC 10 News mobile app. Now to coronavirus cases and hospitalizations rising at a startling rate in the county. Today, health officials warn the numbers could surge over the holidays if people disregard precautions. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner is live with the county's vaccine distribution plan. Jen?
Kimberly, today the county reminded everyone that this week we passed 1,000 COVID deaths here in San Diego. As of right now, we're at 1,035 fatalities. Following this week's announcement that roughly 327,000 COVID-19 vaccines could arrive from Pfizer by mid-December, today the county said that 28,000 doses are anticipated to be sent to San Diego in the first delivery. The vaccines will be allocated in phases. Phase 1A, as we've heard, is going to go to healthcare workers, nursing home patients, and also nursing home employees. Phase 1B to people with underlying medical conditions. Phase 2 will go to teachers, food supply workers, essential workers, and people working in correctional facilities and those who are incarcerated and all older adults. Phase 3 to children and adults under 30. Phase 4 for everyone else. Now, the second round of vaccines is expected to arrive in San Diego about 3 weeks after that first delivery. Also today, the CEO of Sharp Healthcare said that the escalation of virus patients in San Diego is very real and a very real threat. Concern is growing over the increase in hospitalizations and patients needing ICU beds.
Our region has approximately 8,000 hospital beds, but there are only 800 intensive care beds. At the end of November, around 560 of our region's ICU beds were occupied. That left us just 260 beds region-wide. That is continuing to decline precipitously on a daily basis.
Now, he also said that out of the 184 ICU beds that Sharp has, only 25 of them are still empty at this time. Reporting live tonight, Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Jennifer. Here are the latest case numbers. Today, 1,217 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in San Diego County, and that brings the total to 84,639. 16 new deaths were reported today. The number of San Diegans who have died from the virus, now 1,035.
Today, the United Kingdom became the first nation to approve a coronavirus vaccine. British health officials say the first 800,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine would be distributed next week. The UK was able to approve the vaccine at a faster pace due to some of their regulatory practices.
In the United Kingdom, they do something that's called a rolling review. So they're continually looking at that data as they go forward so that they can make a decision as close to real time as possible.
Now, the United States is likely not very far behind the UK's approval timeline. It's likely we'll see the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine approved. American health officials want to get the vaccine to 100 million people by January.
In the United States, I believe we'll probably have more doses rolled out faster because of Operation Warp Speed, because of the manufacturing process beginning before all the trial data was in. So I do think we'll probably be able to vaccinate faster than the UK will.
Now, one thing to watch for as the UK distributes the Pfizer vaccine is what they'll be doing about its storage. The vaccine does need to be stored at minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, two big updated virus and travel recommendations from the CDC today. First, they've added two alternatives for quarantining for anyone who's been exposed to COVID-19. They're shortening the standard 2 weeks to 1 week if you have no symptoms and you test negative. 10 days if you do not take a test and have no symptoms. CDC looked at new modeling and data to come up with these alternatives. They say it will create less stress on public health systems with monitoring and will be easier for the public to follow.
If one is following someone for 7 days versus 14, and then particularly if you have a negative test, that really is likely to have a much more positive impact than people who say, well, I can't do 14 days.
CDC also asked Americans not to travel over the upcoming holidays, just like they did for Thanksgiving. But if you are, they recommend testing 1 to 3 days before and then again 3 to 5 days after. The testing after would be combined with a quarantine for 7 days.
San Diego's election results will be certified tomorrow. Supervisor of Elections Michael Vu says there are no more ballots to count, and that means it looks like the District 2 supervisor race will go to Joel Anderson. It's the only remaining race that was too close to call. Anderson is expected to win by 282 votes.
All right, let's start the news feed. New numbers showing the economy still has a way to go. ADP says that private payrolls grew at their slowest pace since July last month. Companies hiring a little more than 307,000 workers. That might sound like a lot, but economists thought the number would be around 475,000. Now, new insight into where Paycheck Protection Program money really went. More than half of the money in the emergency fund went to just 5% of recipients. About 600 mostly larger companies, including national chains, did receive the max amount allowed of around $10 million. Now today, Norwegian Cruise Line said that it is extending its suspension of most voyages through March. For comparison, Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean suspensions are through January.